serious, when did the class clown go way too far? He would try to jump around, Parker style, desk to desk, all class long. Sometimes would fall comically, breaking things and falling in people, trying to get a laugh. Constantly redirected for trying to do run flips on the wall, telling horrible jokes, or balance large objects on himself. He always wanted attention. We just wanted to learn beginning French. We all, including the teacher, took to ignoring him. One day he couldn't handle people not paying attention to him, so he tried to see if he, for the first time ever, could do a backflip. Landed on his neck. Was out of class for a long while. Did he have ADHD? Because I have ADHD, and I got kicked out of one school after playing catch the ceiling fan and pulling parts of the ceiling down. The fuck? Yeah. That's what the principal said too. How? He called in a bomb threat and got in very big trouble. So many bomb threats at my school. As I don't live in the US, there were not many consequences for this. And the terrorist was usually in the class that had a math test that day, without fail. Did two kids ever unknowingly call in a bomb threat on the same day? That sounds like it'd be super awkward. He put a hit of acid into our woodshop teacher's coffee. Fortunately, our woodshop teacher recognized the onset and immediately called into the office and said that he's leaving right now as he's feeling very unwell, but will remain in class until a replacement arrives. We had a teacher fill in about 15 minutes and our woodshop teacher left. At lunch, we saw that his car was still parked in the parking lot. This was well before cell phones, so there's no way he called someone. Come to find out, he ran to a local park and waited out the storm as he realized that he was dosed with acid and that he was a teen in the 70s, so he knew. The next day, he taught class as normal and didn't mention it. Respect to the teacher. He was the most chill dude ever too, and could explain a dovetail joint in such a way that easy to comprehend and pleasing to hear. I like to believe that he knew exactly what was going on as he began to see fractals, and that he had half an hour before he started peaking, and during this short window, he was in control. And as soon as he found himself a spot at that park on the ground, trees, and sky started to breathe, he thanked his unknown doser and blasted off into outer space. Did the kid get caught? Any punishment? He didn't. He actually graduated on time and went on to the army. Not sure where he is now. Class clown decided he was going to rip a loud fart during the middle of a test and ended up shitting his pants on accident. This is the funniest shit I've read all day. 0009 as of typing this. Hello fellow Brit. Hello. I'm also a fellow Brit. How are you? Pierced his ears in the middle of class, then used a pair of earrings he was given from the bottom of some random girl's purse. This all happened while the teacher was asleep. Another one hid a bunch of dead fish in the ceiling tiles the day before summer break. The school reeked for many months. Edit. The kid just kinda made a joke of it. Didn't apologize. Joking around how the class was shit and he'd rather die. Took off his tie and stood up in front of the class and pretended to hang himself. Teacher just came back to work from a lunch break after finding her son hanging in his room. None of us knew that's why she was off work, but I remember her face going white and just seeing her heart break all over again when he done that. Safe to say nobody even laughed. Oh, that is the saddest thing I have ever heard. The kid obviously didn't know that had happened, but that's why nobody should make jokes about suicide. In math class, we were watching a video on some material I already forget, and the video was around 2 minutes long. Once the video ends, the class clown says that video lasted about as long as your last marriage. Mrs. T's husband had died a few days after their 1-year anniversary. Cold shit. This was like early mid-90s. This girl in 4th or 5th grade just kept pushing the teacher until she finally just told the girl something like, fine, you want to run the class? Then it's the backslash backslash underscore backslash backslash underscore backslash backslash underscore backslash backslash underscore show, go ahead. So the girl went up in front of the classroom and sang and danced and yelled for 15 minutes to get everyone's attention. The teacher just went to the back of the room and wrote her up. He decided to try and fist fight the teacher and got taken down in a Mortal Kombat style bedislam by the teacher. What fatality did the teacher used? He was just crouch spamming. He threw the foreign exchange student's backpack onto the roof of the school and then locked the window when the student went out after it. He wasn't class clown after that, but total asshole. This is 1999. It's been 6 months since Columbine. We are attending school about 40 miles away from Littleton. Lockdown drills just became a thing due to our proximity. Ours involve the local police drilling alongside us, clearing rooms, etc etc. Might just be publicity, might not. We're all lined up against a wall in our dark as fuck room, and the class clown grabs a stapler off the desk, snaps it open so it's fully extended but not dumping staples, then whips it against a kid's leg next to him, driving a staple into his kneecap. Of course the kid screams bloody fucking murder. 3 dudes in full tactical gear stream in. Take like 6 seconds to assess. Grab the class clown. Drag him out. Literally never saw the kid again. Don't know if he got sent to expulsion school or what, but he was like a ghost. You bet your ass we minded our P's and Q's during every lockdown drill after that. He got kept back in class over break as a punishment for being too annoying, or something along the lines of that. The teacher then needed to leave the class to go and photocopy something, and he got up and started messing around at her desk. When he saw her coming back into the room, he thought it would be funny to bolt over to the door and slam it as hard as he could on her hand. She broke 2 fingers and had a bad panic attack. He got suspended for 2 days and the school tried to press charges on him. Suspended for only 2 days for breaking a teacher's fingers. I worked at a summer camp and one kid dislocated a woman's jaw. He wasn't asked to leave camp until he gave another child a black eye a week later. Super negligent camp, and I hope both victims sued. I went to this camp growing up before working there. It was a good camp, but after the recession they took a really hard hit. It was expensive, $500 a week, and people couldn't justify the expense when other camps are cheaper. They slowly started cutting into funds for activities and counselors. My last year I worked there they didn't meet the staff to kid ratio, and when I complained because it was overwhelming they told me well back in my day, it's like, well that's fucking great, but we have laws that don't allow that now. They also played fast and loose with our pay, and if you weren't on top of it, you'd accidentally lose hours. All of this resulted in me leaving, but the children and parents were very happy. High school trip to London. Finally boarding plane after many security stops after a bombing scare in the city. Get to our seat at he says yeah, we got E-bomb on board, as a joke. Had to wait 4+ hours for team to search the plane. Idiot. He put laxatives in the teacher's coffee and shit just went crazy. He ended up getting suspended and the teacher tried pressing criminal charges on him. He deserves pain. And my time to shine. One time in year 8 one of the class clowns stood up on his desk, pulled his trousers and underwear down, and started swinging his dick around shouting anyone want a taste. The teacher called the head teacher and he got expelled from the school and now is known as Dick Swing Boy. I wish this was a joke but it's not. Mayo, imagine you're getting a job and on your resume you write that people call you Dick Swing Boy. It'd be a pretty nice achievement if he's going into the porn industry. I've got one. 2 guys in my app stats class who were always goofing off. Usually pretty funny. No victims, etc. One day they, for some reason, decided to go in on a very smart, popular, relatively quiet girl. Just roasting everything she said. Would not let up. No matter how many times the teacher or other students were like okay chill. Finally one of them made a crack about how she was so sensitive because she'd probably been raped as a child. Whole class went silent. She burst into tears. From what I understand she had a good family life, so that probably did not happen to her, but it was clearly so upsetting to her that she ended up leaving class and going home for the day. So I mean, don't make fucking jokes about trauma to people when you don't know if they've actually experienced that kind of trauma. I don't understand how someone being raped as a child is anywhere near the same realm as funny. Teenagers are fucking psychotic, I swear. I mean, go through this thread and there's a ton of people finding abuse or sexual harassment hilarious. I think it has something to do with improper education as well. When I first heard the word rape from the news I was like 5 or 6. And I had no idea what it meant. Just thought it sounds like a funny word. And when my mum heard me mentioning the word she told me to stop saying that. I asked her why and she was like, you don't need to know. Just shut up and never say that word again. As a 6-year-old I obviously ignored her. It took me at least 5 years to realize how wrong I was. Anything can sound nice when you don't know what it means. Waterboarding at Guantanamo Bay sounds like a great time if you don't know what either of those things are. In 6th grade, 1991, our class clown put a tack on someone's chair. His victim screamed so loud that it startled everyone, and the clown's laugh turned serious immediately. You're an asshole, Derek. Saw that happen in person once. It was not funny. The guy who sat on it was in real pain. You're an asshole, Jamie. Made jokes about how the depressed kid's father raped his mother. Class clown instantly became an outcast when the person said their mom was dead and their dad was in the hospital. Should become an outcast before that was even revealed. Ask the teacher if he's gonna partake in No Nut November. I have never been in a room so silent. Recruiting most of the class via text to download a dog whistle app. So whenever the teacher called him out and took his phone away, someone else could do it and emit a high-pitched sound that was hard to tell where it was coming from, and his name would be cleared until he would do it again. This ending with tears on the teacher's side, and went on for almost a week as the teacher was too kind for discipline, and eventually ended when the teacher left her job and chose a different field. When I was in 8th grade our teacher quit early on, and we would have a new sub every few days, and we did this to them until we got a new teacher. She quit because another class threw a calculator and it hit her in the back of the head. She quit because another class threw a calculator tight squeeze. Bullied an autistic kid. He was new and would punk people or make fart noises when the teacher bent down, etc. He had a small following of friends. Well, he saw this kid who was severely autistic and decided to first mock him. Immediately every one of his friends told him dude not cool, so he didn't get the message. He walked up to the autistic kid when he was walking, pantsed him and go, good job waited duh. Give you an idea, class clown was 17. Autistic kid is 12. Autistic kid cries and runs, tripping over his pants. Class clown laughs loudly dee. No one is laughing but him. I was in special ed with the autistic kid myself when he came in crying. His liaison comforted him, and thing is he couldn't say who bullied him. He was afraid and didn't know how to convey what happened. Meanwhile class clown just fucked himself. His girlfriend immediately broke up with him and told him that her dad knows what he did. He's friends with autistic kid's family and treats autistic kid like a son. His friends immediately cut ties with him. The football team vandalized his truck. This included smashing the window in, splitting his plates, smashing out the lights, mirrors, deflating all 4 tires, then stabbing them. Local mechanic told class clown to fuck himself because autistic kid is mechanic's cousin. Class clown got jumped multiple times. We seriously drove him into quitting school by bullying. What did he expect? A round of applause? Thing was, Carlos Menschel was big, and so was Crank Yankers, where they bashed people with disabilities all the time. He decided to ride the wave. So he was about as original as Carlos Menschel then. He made wheat brownies in culinary class that were distributed to teachers. Lots of blazed and very confused teachers that day. He got caught and had to pay a huge fine and served like 3 weekends in jail. So wrong. But I would have had the best school day ever seeing my teachers high. Oh, it was priceless. I felt bad for them because no one should be drugged against their will. But it was comical to see them struggle to figure out what was wrong. Was there like that one teacher, you know, that guy, who was like, yeah, this is normal, this is fine. It's pretty good stuff actually. Yes, lol. A history teacher who I'm 99% sure was a stoner. I used to come to his class high. He would notice and joke with me and never once wrote me up. For example, I came in one day and he was writing with a green marker. I commented that I liked the marker and he said, I bet you do. It's green. He also always greeted me by saying peace and love. And he let me bring in a Beatles album to play while we took our final exam. Pretty sure that dude was a major stoner, haha. My favorite science teacher's room had a drop ceiling. Every day, after school, I'd take a yardstick and randomly select a single ceiling tile to lift up and place a skew out of its frame. The science classroom was cluttered as hell, so it didn't look too obvious. After 3 weeks I'd moved 15 panels out of place and the teacher hadn't noticed. On the 4th week, she suddenly noticed and thought her freshman homeroom class had done it all at once. That morning, as a prank, while she wasn't looking, she yelled at them for 15 minutes about disrespecting her classroom and then made them all put the ceiling tiles back in their correct positions. I never fessed up. After seeing how angry she was, I thought it was a good, harmless prank, but based on her reaction I obviously didn't read the situation correctly. Yeah, that always happens with these gradual pranks. People assume you did it all at once. Like when my buddy dumped about a gallon of acorns out of his bag and got real mad that I'd just poured acorns into his bag. I'm like, nah man, I've been putting single acorns in there every chance I get for weeks and you finally saw one and found them all. He had not seen the gradual building humor in the same way I and my co-acorners had, though, and continued to believe that I just scooped a double armful of acorns into his bag somehow. He did later see the humor in it when we acorned him again, and he went somewhere else with a different group of people and started angrily pouring acorns out of his bag. Everyone around him was like, what the hell dude? There aren't even any acorns around here. And he's like, I fucking know. Damn it. And told them the story. They laughed. He laughed. Now it's all good. When he made fun of the quiet kid for crying in the back of class because he had a family member pass away and he turned up dead the day after hung in his room. Wait, which one hung themselves, the clown or the quiet kid? The quiet one. How did the class clown react to that? Laughed like the piece of living shit that he is, then promptly got a foot to the balls by one of his friends. The time that this happened was when this kid, we'll call him Billy, came back from the bathroom. We were told that we were getting a new student who had a little bit of autism. When Billy got word of that, he sat up and said, "Hey, teacher, we are getting an autistic kid, right?" The teacher nodded. Then Billy squatted and flailed his arms while wildly screeching. The whole class, including the teacher, was mortified. I'm just glad he got in trouble and couldn't go to recess. We were in 5th grade BTW. I'm just glad his classmates were all mortified. He got no positive reinforcement for that one. Did he chill out a little after that? Yeah. The next day he was back to being goofy but not offensive. I still think his punishment should have been worse than just not going to recess. We went on a trip to the country courthouse in Ottawa, Canada, and some kid put a pin on the Prime Minister's chair. He got arrested. That took some serious balls. Depends how the PM sat down, I guess. This wasn't at the school I went to. The students from my school had a citywide reputation for being a bunch of theater kids, teachers' pets, and snobs. But at school one town over where I did a placement when I was 15. During those 3 weeks, some jokesters who were, apparently, the class clowns of their grade, decided to pour chocolate milk into the school's fish tank, which wasn't very big. This was on a Friday afternoon. But the teachers only found out about it Monday noon. By then, all the fish had died already. I can't tell you how the students in question were punished. That was handled privately, but it was decided that for the foreseeable future, there would be no more fish. Made jokes about abortion. The teacher had lost her baby, told her it was not funny, but she did not stop and cried in frustration. And people wonder why our education system sucks. These two girls were always really mean to the German teacher and constantly pushing her buttons. One day, they broke into the German class trailer before school and covered everything with pads and tampons that had been colored to look like they were used. She didn't come back to school after Thanksgiving break. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more videos.